Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Campus Conversations. I'm Allison Smalley. I work in advancement and alumni relations here at Central Michigan University. So happy that you all could join us today for our last campus conversation of the semester with the College of Arts and Media. A couple of notes before we go ahead and get started. Please feel free to turn on your cameras if you would like. I know a lot of people might be eating lunch, so I understand that as well. Additionally, please feel free to ask questions throughout the conversation via the chat or raise your hand function. Dean Campbell is happy to answer questions at any point. We are recording this session, and we will send out the recording along with a survey after the session has ended. We would love for you to share your feedback. It helps us improve moving forward. Other than that, we're so glad to see your faces, a lot of returning individuals. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dean Jefferson Campbell.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our April campus conversations, the last one for the academic year. As you can imagine, there's a lot happening on campus right now between the production departments and academic papers being presented, conferences, recruitment events. I mean, it's a nonstop push to the end of the semester in a good way. And in fact, as I was preparing all the information for this campus conversation today, I realized that there is no earthly way I could go through everything that has happened just in the spring semester in the time that we have allotted. And that's a great thing. I mean, honestly, it would probably take me the full hour just to go through one of the department's activities, awards, accolades, and accomplishments over the last few months. It is a very exciting time of the semester. And I wanted to preface or start off the conversation by letting you know the status of the college. What's going on with us with enrollment? What's going on with us financially? As we all know, higher education is struggling a little bit in general. And I would like to proudly announce that CAM is in a good place right now. The way we measure revenue generation and health of our college is primarily through one metric, and that's student credit hours. How many classes are students signing up for and taking in the college? And I'm very happy to announce that we beat our SCH projections by 7% this year in the College of the Arts and Media, which means that we generated 7% more students taking courses than anyone had projected that we were going to do. That means we're doing our job. We're getting the word out to the campus. We're getting our word out to online students, and they're wanting to take our courses. And it also means that students who are even majors are taking an extra course or two here and there because they find value in what we have to offer across the multiple departments in the college. It's really nice, and it really helps me out when we're actually beating our projections and generating some revenue, because it allows us to invest in ourselves. And that's what we do with any of the revenue we generate. It goes back into the faculty, it goes back into the students, it goes into some equipment, it goes into being able to host alumni events. It's been a really good year for us in that regard. We have a lot of new courses. We have a few new minors, some new programs coming online as early as next fall. Our sports communication minor was just approved yesterday by the Academic Senate here at CMU. It is essentially a sports broadcasting minor is what it is. But we call it sports communication because it's one of the very first programs that comes out of the new School of Communication, Journalism, and Media, where it was a group effort. So there are communication courses, there are courses in broadcasting and being in front of the camera, there are journalism courses, there are PR courses. It really is the very first proof of concept that we have of our new experiment with that new school. And we're very, very excited about it, as are the faculty. And I'll allude to this in a moment when I tell you about some of the other good news, but we're getting great feedback from students about that move as well, which is really exciting that even a student in the program is acknowledging the changes that we're making and how we're moving forward. So I am going to make an attempt to share my screen. I used to be really, really good at Zoom because my previous institution, that's all we had. Um, but we're a team school, by gosh. Here we go. All right. So I just titled this CAM Faculty, Staff, and Student Good News because there's so much of it. And this is only spring. I want to highlight this isn't for the whole academic year. This is only for one semester. The entire one is great. So alumni engagements and events. I think all of you know if you're on this meeting right now, I've tried to put a big emphasis on outreach to our alumni, involvement with our alumni, and it is an essential part of building a complete experience for our students, both during their time at CMU and then right after graduation at CMU, to have alumni involved. And I think any of you that have met me or heard me speak before know I am not just talking about donations. Of course, that is always an important part of what we ask, but being able to be here, share your experience and your time with our students in any way, whether it's serving on one of the boards that we have in the college, or if it's teaching a class or providing material or using your contacts, all of those things are essential to our success. So look at this list already. From a year ago now, we've already done many of these things. We had a big alumni event in New York City last May, where we had some of our alums who are performing on Broadway currently that did a performance. It was to honor Dr. Eric Tucker, the director of the School of Music, who was their teacher. Homecoming in this last fall, we had several alums who were on campus working with our students directly. We had our first meeting of the CAM Alumni Advisory Board. We'd had the Media Hall of Fame in November, just a couple of weeks later, which was a tremendous success. And Scott, I see you in here. Thank you so much for all the work you did from the production side of that and also from the board. It really was one of those great, fantastic gatherings of alums who got to catch up with each other. Some got to make new connections. We get to recognize some fantastic people. The Alumni Advisory Board met again just a few weeks ago at the end of March. They had some great meetings with the provost, the president of the university, the executive director of alumni relations. They started digging in on some work that they want to do for this summer and next year in building an alumni mentorship network, which will help not only current students, but recent graduates and alumni even later in their careers. It was brought up, a couple of our alums are basically taking a different direction in their careers. One of them is writing a book. Actually, three of them are writing a book, and they're looking for ways to connect with other alums, either for networking or promotion or feedback, whatever it might be. There's no reason we can't continue to help you throughout your career and help each other. And so the alumni advisory board is going to be working on that as well. We had a public relations reunion just last weekend. 60 people attended that. It was a nice party, a great opportunity for them to get together and celebrate each other and the faculty. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be at that one. I was in Duluth, Minnesota last week performing with the orchestra there. I'm still trying to remain active in my field because it doesn't seem right that I am judging promotion and tenure if I'm not doing things in my own field as well. On April 23rd, we have a big event, an alumni concert presented by music alum Mark Holen and his New Bajara jazz flamenco band. They'll be doing master classes. There's going to be a flamenco master class in the dance area. And then we'll have a great concert that evening. It's a wonderful event to highlight not only our alums, but have them work with the current students. On May 1st of this year, we're going to be having an alumni event in Los Angeles. And Phil, I see you on the chat. Thank you for your help in organizing this event. We already have a great number of people signed up for this. It's going to be relatively informal, but an opportunity for a bunch of people to get back together, maybe meet people they never met before who have this CMU connection. And more importantly, it's an opportunity for me to get to know everybody. This, I hope, continues to demonstrate my commitment to having these events in different cities throughout the country in the next few years. And hopefully we can build a rotation of this so that it can become something people expect and count on and can look forward to. It's just really important for me to be able to touch on different areas of our college and bring people together. And then this summer is another wonderful event in Traverse City. So if you're not aware of our summer theater, you should be and you will be. On July 5th, Summer Theater is adding a third show to their season in Traverse City. And, you know, we went back and forth. It's going to be so busy. Do we really want to put a show in Traverse City? And my opinion of it was, hey, if it's going to be that busy, then we can capture as many people as possible to come see this wonderful show. And so we're going to be doing a performance for Summer Theater in Traverse City with an alumni reception preceding that performance. You can see Allison on this call, and Megan and the other members of the development team have been working really hard to put this together and make it a success. This is solely because of the generosity of donors that we're able to do this. I really hope that we can get a bunch of donors together and alumni together to see the great production. I have big ideas for this, for Summer Theater. I would like to see them do a show in Chicago in the future and reach into Ohio and Indiana. And then one day, maybe 5 years from now, I would like to see them really travel, hit the road, and really start spreading the word. We have universal in-state tuition at CMU, so we need to be reaching out and attracting students from all over the place. And I would like to throw this in there. This year, the Department of Theater and Dance signed up for a service called Accepted, which is an online recruiting tool. It basically lets them reach students all over the country. It was an experiment. And already in the first year, we had 75 applications from students outside the state of Michigan. And of those 75, we're already getting a good percentage of them that are committing to come to CMU next year. So we're trying multiple ways of getting outside the borders of Michigan, especially in, quite honestly, the big population centers of the US right now, and that's the Sun Belt and the Southwest. There are large populations of high school students looking for school. There's no reason they can't consider us. I had somebody say, well, how are you going to sell somebody in New Mexico to come to Michigan to go to school? And I said, easy, just ask them, have you ever wanted to see snow? Come to Mount Pleasant, Michigan. We got some snow. You get all 4 seasons here. And the beauty of it is there's little to nothing poisonous here in the state, especially in Mount Pleasant. Our spiders are safe. Our snakes are safe. Come on up here. We don't even have poisonous lizards. No Gila monsters here. And definitely no scorpions. I was in New Mexico last year, and everybody kept warning me about checking my shoes in the morning. And I was like, yeah, okay, why does anybody live here? No, they're beautiful places. I've been to New Mexico several times. So some of our other engagements, I've been to the Detroit and Detroit metro area quite a few times in the last 2 years to engage with alumni and donors, to attend cultural events in Detroit, the Art Institute, Classical Roots with the Detroit Symphony. We're hoping to put together some sort of an alumni event in conjunction with CMU Alumni Relations for one of the baseball games. We have quite a few alumni that are involved with the production crews for the Lions and also for the Tigers, but the Pistons as well, and now the Red Wings. So it's an opportunity for us to get together and celebrate that. Megan and I were just in the Dallas-Fort Worth area meeting with some wonderful alumni. And from everything we heard, I guess Dallas needs to be one of the places we host an event, because everybody kept asking us, when are we going to get an event in Dallas? So I'm sure Megan and I will start works on that. And then visits and work with students and many alumni, including a fantastic performance of the Requiem Mass by Mozart this last Sunday. It was great. We had 4 alums singing the solo roles, and then students performing the orchestra and choir parts, and some community members as well. We had Larry Joe Campbell here. Actor Larry Joe Campbell did an improv clinic with the students in the Department of Theater and Dance the Friday before spring break, and the students all showed up. It was amazing. Most students on campus were long gone, but not our theater kids. And then Tim Hackbart, BCA grad, worked with students in the School of Communication, Journalism, and Media for 5 classes that day. We really put him to work. He said he wanted to get put to work, and so we put him to work. He taught a full load that day, and it was fantastic. He talked to him about advertising, PR, marketing, quite a few other things. And it was really one of those great examples, both his visit and Larry Joe's visit, of how we can engage alums and how they can really give back and make an impact. Great student feedback from both of those visits. I did see that Dr. Kirsten Weber just signed on. Kirsten, are you there? I'm trying to scroll through all the folks.
I am here.
I would really, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Kirsten Weber from the communication area of the School of Communication, Journalism, and Media. Dr. Weber also serves as the graduate area coordinator in that college. And important to me right now, especially, is she agreed to be the co-chair of the strategic planning process in the College of the Arts and Media. We are in the middle. Actually, I guess we're getting close to the end.
Yeah.
Process, but I'll let her talk about that. And I also wanted her to talk about a remarkable achievement that she has had with a group of fellow faculty with a grant that she awarded. So Kirsten, I'll turn it over to you for a few moments.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and sort of good afternoon to all of you. I just want to say off the bat, thanks for being a part of this alumni board. I know that I really appreciate it, and I think a lot of folks, other faculty as well as students, really appreciate the role that you all have taken on. So thank you for doing that. As Dean Campbell mentioned, I was going to talk a little bit about some research related to a National Science Foundation grant that I received, as well as talking a little bit about where we are with the CAM strategic plan. So the National Science Foundation grant that I received is called an Advanced Adaptation Grant. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, I was actually unfamiliar with it until I sort of got involved in this work. The grant looks at addressing intersectional gender equity. So the grant was for almost $1 million, and that is going to started in the fall of 2003. It's going to extend through the spring of 2028. And I am part of an interdisciplinary team. So we have myself representing CAM, and then we also have faculty member from math. We have a faculty member from psychology, and then the associate dean of the College of Engineering and Technology is also a part of that. And mostly what we've been doing is working toward bringing programming to support intersectional gender equity on campus. An example is next year we're going to have a speaker series and kind of a lunch series to help women better understand some of the opportunities that they might have here at the university. We've brought in a number of different programs to sort of help faculty and staff just kind of understand the complex nature of these types of issues. So I suppose for me, in terms of, I would say probably like the two biggest benefits of that I've seen of being a part of the team is just doing this type of work really necessitates interdisciplinary membership, that for bigger ideas or bigger changes, it's really important that we make these connections across campus. And so I feel really fortunate that I've been able to do that. And for the mentoring opportunities that have been available to me because of this interdisciplinary team. So I would say that's one of the big outcomes. And then, of course, there's been a lot of research opportunities. So we've already collected about 4 data sets from the grant. And so I think being able to have funding available to collect the data, to be able to do the research and ultimately sort of write this up in conference presentation form or manuscript form is really, really important. So I'd be happy to have further conversations about this, talk a little bit about the specific programs if you have questions. Otherwise, I'll kind of switch over and I can talk a little bit about the strategic plan and where we've been. Does that seem okay? Okay, I see some head nods, so I'll move over to that. So I, in the fall, was actually part of the strategic planning steering committee. And when I was involved in the steering committee, we tried to develop some of the sort of foundational structure for how we would move forward with strategic planning for the college. And that included making some decisions about who would be involved or who would be represented, the general process, those types of things. Once the steering committee made those decisions, then Dean Campbell elicited nominations from the college from individuals who might be interested in serving on the strategic planning committee. A big goal was that we wanted to make sure, and this is my role when I was on the steering committee, we wanted to make sure that that was a very inclusive and representative committee. And so we were able to get, faculty and staff from representation across the college on the strategic planning committee. For probably the first half of the semester, we spent time conducting listening sessions with each of the units to elicit feedback from the different units, as well as having a web form available for individuals who might not be able to come to those listening sessions. So the listening sessions included both, departments, units, schools, but it also included some for undergraduates as well as graduate students. So we're really trying to get feedback from all the stakeholders within the college. After that, and for what has been mostly the second half of the semester, we, as a committee, have been meeting weekly-ish, and we have been working to pull themes from the feedback and the sort of insights that we got from the listening sessions and the online forum, to serve as the foundation for what is now becoming the strategic plan. So initially there were sort of rough themes, and we've moved from rough themes into priorities, and now under the priorities we have some objectives, and under the objectives we have some SMART goals. And really briefly, I'll mention that there's sort of three priorities, and there's sort of an underlying theme which is related to you all. The first theme has to do with the educational experiences of the students, and wanting to make sure that we are focusing on uh, in and out of classroom experiences that are relevant to the careers of the future, right? Making sure that our students are positioned well for when they're leaving here, and trying to attain a job. The second priority focuses on a diverse and supportive and collaborative environment within the college, in terms of that community of scholarship, right? And then the third focus is on being able to communicate our identity internally to other stakeholders within the university, and then also externally to individuals who are in the community or alumni. And I will say that, those are our three priorities. What relates to you probably is that embedded within each of those priorities, we are hoping that our alumni might be willing to engage with us in a variety of different ways, in terms of working with some of our students or working with some of our faculty to really elevate the prestige of our program. So I, again, would be more than happy to have a discussion and talk more at length, either about the process or the outcome of that process in terms of the specific, SMART goals within any of those priorities. But for now, I'll leave it there, and I'll turn it back over to Dean Campbell.
Kirsten, thank you so much. You know, I'm really glad that you mentioned the part about embedding the alumni and engagement with alumni into each of those priorities, and because your timing couldn't be more perfect, because I just gave them a big speech about how important alumni engagement was to us, and I think that's a perfect demonstration that we're building it into the strategic plan for the college. Also, I definitely want to publicly thank you. Kirsten's title in this process is co-chair, but the truth of the matter is that she has been doing almost all of the work. I come in and consult, and that was sort of by design. She and I both felt that as dean, it would be easier to solicit constructive feedback from faculty to develop a plan if I was not the one leading the whole thing, because it would look like I was trying to either advance an agenda, or someone would say something that they'd be worried they'd upset me, or whatever it might be. And so she has really been leading a great team. It looks that we're gonna meet either our primary or secondary deadline for completing this, and either way, that's fantastic news. That means either in May or in August, we're gonna have a finalized plan that we will be able to put into operation and start making things happen. The truth of the matter is a lot of the work that we've been doing for the last year and a half in the college aligns with what the strategic plan is ending up being anyway, which is great news, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel in any way. But what it's doing is it's codifying those beliefs in what we did the last 18 months into a plan for the next 5 years. I am, and Kirsten knows this, I am not a fan of strategic plans that look good on paper but are not good in practice or are impossible to implement. And they have definitely created a plan that we will actually be able to take action on and make new things happen, and then measure them and say, okay, well, did we accomplish this, or did we just say something that was going to look good on paper? And for me, one thing I'm very proud of with this is that it's entirely faculty driven. We didn't hire a consulting firm. We didn't use an outside group of any way. The faculty group looked at the new CMU strategic plan. We looked at the DEI strategic plan, and they were mindful about aligning those plans with the college plan, which is important. We have to have that alignment. I've been nothing but impressed. And Kirsten, I want to say again publicly, thank you very much for your leadership in that work.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great team of people to be working with. And I said at the beginning, I'm kind of nerdy when it comes to strategic plans. So it's really been very pleasurable for me. So thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to come here and speak a little bit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
There's another guest here today that I wanted to make sure that he had an opportunity to speak with you and be introduced. Mr. Danny McWaters Jr., who actually works here at CMU. And Danny is the president of our Alumni Advisory Board. He was elected into that position at the first meeting back in October of 2023. He and I have had the opportunity to work closely so far, and hopefully we will a lot more in the near future. Now that the board kind of knows what we're doing and what our goals are, I'm sure we'll be in more contact. But I've asked Danny to join us today for a few moments so you can get to know him, and also so that he can tell you a little bit about what the board is doing and what their hopes are. So Danny, I'll turn it over to you for a few moments. And I didn't say your title because I didn't want to get it wrong. So if you don't mind telling your title here at the university.
Thank you. So my name is Danny McWaters Jr. Right now, I currently serve as the Assistant Director of Diversity Education within the Office for Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. So yeah, it's kind of a mouthful, and it's, a couple of different diversity offices, yes. But yeah, so that's what I do now. With CAM, I am both an alumni and previous employee of the college too. So I have a lot of experience. So I got my master's degree in communication from CAM. Actually, Dr. Weber was one of my professors, and I worked under her as one of her teaching aides a couple of years ago as well. I worked as the assistant debate coach when I was there in CAM, so I have a lot of experience with the debate team. And then I worked as the director of the Presentation Skills Center for a year, right before COVID hit and right before it got shut down. So now I'm back in a different capacity. I have never been more proud to be an alumni of the College of Arts and Media, especially with the new dean here, Dean Campbell. It's a lot of good initiatives coming out of the college, and I think a lot of strategy and intentionality coming out of the college, which it really, really needed. And it really needed that revamp. A little bit about the Alumni Advisory Board. So we got started in October, I think 23 of it was last fall. So, yep. So we're still in our first year of getting off the ground. We're almost done with our first academic year of being in action. Within the past year, so we've had 2 in-person meetings and a couple of virtual meetings so far. A lot of our alumni are off doing really, really big things. So kind of across the country right now. So we try to have at least 2 virtual or 2 in-person meetings a year. The first one, we kind of got to know each other, and then last meeting we started to talk more about our future plans and how we were going to implement the dean's plan and then work with other things. So we just met at the end of March, actually, and some of the things that we covered was just some of the new initiatives that CAM was having. So we got pretty much up to date. The board is up to date on what the college is doing overall. And then we heard some feedback from the president, President Davies, Provost Matthews, and then Marcy Otterman, just of what they would like to see and offer some guidance. So the last meeting was more to it was a planning session, but also to kind of align ourselves with the university at large and the college as it stands. And then, so for the future things, what we're kind of planning on doing, a lot of good things in the works, mentoring initiatives, kind of not coalition building, but more efficiency between the different alumni boards out of the college, because I know that there's multiple different efforts at play. So kind of making sure that those efforts are calibrated in order to move for as most efficiently as a board too. So yeah, I'm super excited. We'll have our next meeting in the fall, and then we'll have one virtual meeting before that. But yes, super excited for all of the work Cam is doing, and the dean is doing as well, and that the board is going to do. It's a lot of hardworking people on the board who I'm sure will, in the coming months, you're going to start seeing a lot of the work, and in the coming years especially. So yeah, I don't know if you wanted me to say if I hit the points or or if you
Absolutely.
have any questions so far.
Absolutely. And I want it on the record that I didn't pay him to give me that compliment.
Oh no, yeah, no. I genuinely feel that way. This is a really good dean for the school, so, or for the college. So
No, Danny, thank you so much for that update, and I'm looking forward on what's going to happen. And I think Danny knows this. I'm incredibly excited at the group that we have put together for the board, but also the enthusiasm, the commitment, spending 8, 9 hours either in a room or on a Zoom call, discussing these things is a tremendous commitment, as well as what's going to happen in the future. So thank you, and thank you to the board for the work.
yes, thank you.
Thanks so much. So, we have a lot going on that we're all trying to juggle a lot of things at one time. I wanted to share with you just a couple of small pieces here. You know, one of the things that we had to do as a college is we have to get the word out. And, you know, I've been hammering this word awareness ever since I stepped foot on this campus, is because it's dumbfounded me why we have any kind of enrollment struggle at all, especially in this college, because of the long history of success that we have, the incredible work being done by students throughout the college in every single unit. It was just sort of, I couldn't figure it out. And I realized quite quickly that we weren't doing a good job of getting the word out, and we weren't doing a good job of celebrating our successes publicly. And so we're building that. And it is taking a while because there's multiple levels that we have to work through. But I figured the easiest one, and the one I could impact the fastest, was right here on campus. I have several majors within the college that we call discovery majors, which means that students sort of discover them in their first and second year on campus. A lot of communication majors, or I should say students that end up communication majors, start off in another college, in another degree program, and they take a communication class or two, and then they become a major somewhere around their junior year. Well, we'd like them to discover the degree sooner, and part of that is just letting them know it's here. The same thing for IPR and strategic communication. It's the same thing. It's a discovery major. So you can't tell scale probably from the photos on the slideshow here, but these are, I believe, 6 feet wide and 4 feet tall. And we just put these are really high def heat transfer photos. And we have them on the wall in Moore Hall. And if you graduated from CMU and you walked Moore Hall, it still looked the same. It was still a white concrete block. So now at least we have some decoration. And what I wanted to do was just make sure everybody knew what degrees lived in this building, what programs were here, because otherwise you have to go to the 3rd or 4th floor to find out. And if you aren't going to a class, you're not going to go up there. We have a lot of visitors coming through the hallway, either on campus tours or alumni from another program that are just sort of walking around campus with their families. So let's tell them what's here. So the one on the left is for our communication area. The one on the right here is for strategic communication. That's one of our new areas in the new school. It's advertising, PR, and IPR. Whoops, I'm trying to fast forward my screen here. There we go. And then you can see journalism and then media arts. We have those. So those are here in the main hallway in Moore Hall. And it stretches, I guess, 200 feet. These are spaced out across 200 feet on opposite walls. So if you come out of a classroom, actually the best one is communication. They got prime location. You come off the elevator and it's right there in front of you. You don't have a choice but to see it. But we put it in high traffic areas. So we have some more too that we did. This is now Bush Theater. When you come from the Kiva towards Bush, the entire wall now shows Bush Theater, the Department of Theater. It lists the degrees. It shows some photos of our productions. We put the TV here, and now the TV only rotates photos of productions from that year. It was just another one of those things where, you know, if you're not purposefully going into Bush Theater, it's easy to not know that you're right outside Bush Theater. So I wanted to make sure that it was obvious, and it's free advertising. It's my wall, and it only cost me a couple $100 to do this because my associate dean is a designer, and so he designed it for me, and we had him put it up. So this is a high traffic area, lots of people coming through here. But wait, there's more. And so these two, the one on the left is right outside the radio station. We really wanted to hit the home a couple of different things, but most importantly, the all CMU students are welcome. So we have that right outside on the air behind the board because a lot of students don't even know that they can do either of these things. And then the one on the right is right outside the new central control room. And this is a new tagline that we're using from your first semester to your last, because we're the only school in the state of Michigan with a TV station where your freshman year, you can be behind the booth or on screen. We're the only one. Every other school with production, you have to be a junior. So we're really hammering this home, and I wanted to make sure that any student coming on a tour, any family randomly walking through our facilities, A, knew what was behind the mirrors, and B, knew some information about the program. Something that's going to go up next week, there are QR codes. They're really nice looking. That'll go up next to each one of these. So at Bush Theater, the 4 and Moore Hall, and then these two, that if a student or anybody holds up their phone, the QR code will take them to the web page with more information and an application to come to CMU. So really just trying to capture a lot of the natural foot traffic we're getting within the college and also bring some attention to what's going on behind the bland concrete walls. The last one I have to show you is coming off of the 3rd floor elevator is the new office of the School of Communication, Journalism, and Media. So again, if you're coming up the staircase, coming out the elevator, there is no way to miss where you are now. This was intentional to do a couple of things. The first and foremost was just to promote the idea that we have this new school. If you're looking for the Department of Journalism, you're not going to find it because it's now part of the School of Communication, Journalism, and Media. And it's beautiful. And by the way, I don't know if I ever mentioned it in my previous ones, but the director of the school had a brilliant idea. So we had an office for the Department of Journalism, we had an office for the Department of Communication, and we had an office suite for School of Broadcast and Cinematic Arts. We're like, okay, well, we now have a lot of space. What are we going to do with it? So the communication office suite and conference room became the new school's administrative office. The School of Broadcast and Cinematic Arts became a student lounge. So that whole area is a student lounge now and study space. And then the Department of Journalism conference room and suite is now a faculty lounge, which we've never had before. So now we finally have some spaces for people to gather, to get to know each other. And I was a little dubious. I didn't know if students would use the space. Like day one of the fall semester, there were students in there. And by the end of the semester last fall, they're doing what we hoped they would do. They're talking to each other about classes and, oh, hey, I'm doing that too. We should work together on this. So just providing a space for people to hang out, get to know each other. And that's usually how those cool collaborative projects come together, both for faculty and students. And in fact, part of our strategic plan is going to be providing time and space and events for faculty just to get together, to know each other, to talk about their research. We're going to start a brown bag lunch program where faculty can present about their work that they're doing right now and seek out collaborators. And in fact, we're going to live stream those events. So you'll see about those. So you can tune in and check out what's going on, what faculty might be interested in, and maybe it aligns with something you're interested in and you have expertise and time to give. Just really trying to be mindful of creating these opportunities for faculty, alumni, and students to really start working together across disciplines and not doing it in a top-down sort of way. I told the Alumni Advisory Board, there's only one thing that gets built from the top, and that's a whole. I really would like everything to be coming from the faculty and the students. But wait, there's more. It makes mounds of julienne fries. No, I'm joking. If you remember those TV commercials, you get a chuckle. We had 8 new hires in the college this year. This is a big deal. It may not sound like a big deal, but it's a big deal for a couple of reasons. Number one, we were able to keep retired positions. So, in the current environment in higher education, oftentimes, especially in arts programs, a faculty member retires and the entire line is taken back in order to meet a budget cut. It didn't happen. We have 8 new hires across the college, which means that we have some new faculty coming in. And I'm very excited. 2 of our hires, one in art and design and another one in communication, specialize in artificial intelligence. So one is artificial intelligence and graphic design, and the other is artificial intelligence and health communication. So we're going to be able to start to adapt and incorporate something that is really dominating the academic sphere nationwide. We're going to be at the forefront of that. We're not going to be a trailing unit. We're going to be able to be at the forefront of that. But 8 new, 7 tenure track hires, 1 fixed term hire. This is really great news. Everybody that we're hiring, we are hiring not just to teach what we need now, but we're hiring them to teach what we're going to need in the near and distant future. For example, our new violin professor is a split position between violin and commercial music, because the commercial music degree is exploding. That's a joint venture between the School of Music and broadcast media arts. It's exploding. And we're looking at having something like 68 majors in just the second year that that degree has been online. So being able to plan out and find faculty who fit those multiple categories is really important, and it's essential for positioning ourselves for success and giving the students what they're going to need. Our social media analytics are vastly improving from where they were 18 months ago. We still have plenty of work to do. And believe me, I know that there are legitimate complaints and we're addressing them. We really are. We're building something within the college and infrastructure so that we can actually approach it, be sustainable, and grow with it. But across the board, our social media engagement is up 20% on every platform. That's good. That's much better than where it was in the past few years, where it was declining year after year. And of course, we're going to continue to try to build that out. And we're going to be asking for help from alums, sharing within your networks when news comes out that fits and applies to your field, or something that you find exciting, or there's a new big achievement by one of our alumni. We really, really want to get that word out there. It's the best indirect marketing and recruitment tool we have, is just sharing the accomplishments of the alums, the current students, and the faculty who are here. Our development work is doing fantastic. We're, I think, running somewhere around 300% of where we were 3 years ago as a college. That is a clear indication that you believe in what we're doing. And we want to continue to provide you that belief in what we're doing by sharing the news, showing what we're doing, making good on our promises to you, and especially to our donors. We can't do this without the help. We just can't. And it is really one of the most remarkable things I've ever witnessed in my higher education career, is how fast our alumni and donors have chosen to commit to us. It really has been almost overwhelming. And, you know, Megan's smiling ear to ear right now because she knows I'm right. It's been truly remarkable. And I do want you to know how grateful we are. I will continue to share some of our short-term and long-term goals. I will share smaller goals financially, and big pie in the sky dreams and hopes. I've got it all. And it comes from the faculty and it comes from the students. I do want to thank all of you. Anybody here on this broadcast or who watches the recording who has given in any amount, I do want to sincerely thank you. It makes a difference every day. If it's a scholarship, those students feel it every day. Every dollar that a student receives in scholarship money is an hour that they don't have to work at a job that they don't really want, and they can focus on their field. And I try to make that point home. That's what a scholarship does, is it buys time in the degree for the students. It buys time after classes are over for extra rehearsal, or for extra research, or for an extra trip that they need to take to a conference. It is literally buying that opportunity for them to get further into their degree. I was fortunate as a student, as many of you may have been as well, that tuition was a lot lower when I was a student. I think it was $3,500 a year where I went to school. And I had some scholarships, but at $3,500 a year with scholarships, I lived in a practice room, and I had that luxury. I had a work study job, but it was in the band. I mean, I could get away with a lot working for the band. It was my home. I knew what I was doing. But it is so essential, and we can't thank you enough. Our number of gifts, the number of people donating is up 19%. Like, just the sheer number of people, that is amazing. And most of these have gone towards new and existing scholarships. Again, thank you to everyone. So I have this ginormous list that I can share, but I probably am not going to have time because I'd like for you to ask some questions. So I'm going to mail it out. I have 5 pages or 5 Word documents, each 5 pages long, of achievements by our students and faculty in just this semester. Just this semester, book publications, international national exhibitions, international national performances, international and national awards won by our students. Anyone who would have any doubt that this college is one of the most active colleges of its kind in the state just needs to look at these documents. I mean, honestly, I was worried I wasn't going to have enough to talk to you about, so I brought all the documents with me. And those of you who have heard me before know that it was dumb that I thought I wouldn't have enough to talk about, because it's usually the opposite problem for me. But let me just give you a couple of highlights real quickly. The CMU undergraduates presented their competitively selective papers at the Undergraduate Honors Conference, sponsored by the Central States Communication Association. And we had 4 students who were chosen to present those papers at this communication-specific conference. Those were students. We had a graduate student who was recognized for one of their graduate research papers, led by Dr. Kirsten Weber as advisor, not surprising. And then also at that same conference, communication professor Ed Hink was honored for a lifetime achievement in speech and debate. We had 12 nominees for the Irene Ryan Award. This is a Kennedy Center Award for our theater students. One just as recently for Tartuffe, which was just done in Bush Theater. This was a big one. Mario Sangret Saval, who is a CMU senior, was awarded the prestigious Congress Bundestag Youth Exchange for Young Professionals Fellowship in Germany. He's an honor student program from Gladwood, Michigan, who's pursuing a vocal music award, a vocal music major. This is the first of these awards we've ever received at CMU. It is a big deal. It's a full ride for this student to study for a year in Germany, and it's sponsored by the United States Congress and the Bundestag of Germany, which is their version of Parliament and or Congress. It's a very big deal. CM Life students who are also in the College of the Arts and Media won multiple awards at the Associated College Press Spring National College Media Conference. We had them from photography, we had them for writing, we had them for graphic design, we had them for advertising. Our graphic design students won a whole mess of awards at the American Advertising Federation conference, which is District 6. That was in Atlanta. So was the CM Life Awards. The School of Music Quartet, String Quartet in Residence, the Xenia Quartet, won a full ride package scholarship to the Ariana String Quartet Chamber Music Festival in Missouri for June. It's a 10-day study festival. And again, I can just keep going on and on. John Nickel, professor of saxophone, was recognized with a Lifetime Achievement Award with the North American Saxophone Alliance, which is comically referred to as NASA. And one of his students, he performed a work commissioned by one of his students that also won an award. It's a piece called Searching. It's a multi-movement work for saxophone. I'm going to have to send this all to you. I haven't even gotten through like the first quarter page of these awards and accolades. And again, this is just for spring semester. We're doing amazing work. And I hope that when you read through all of that, your pride in being a CMU grad will rise. When I graduated from Western Kentucky University. When I graduated, our band director gave us a big speech. And it was about one of his jobs and all of the faculty jobs was to be the conservator for the programs, to maintain a high quality of excellence, not just for the current students, but for the pride of the alumni. That when we graduate, our degree is a stock certificate. And the value of that degree as a stock certificate depends on how well the institution maintains its academic and artistic standards throughout the years. And that really hit home for me. And I continue to believe that as a dean, as faculty members, we all have a responsibility to the current students, but also to all of you who have left here so that you are proud to say, I went to Central Michigan University. My degree is in BCA from Central Michigan University. And your expectation is that anyone you tell that to goes, oh yeah, wow, that's great. You must have had a great degree. You must be doing well in life. That is part of all of this. Now, that's my motivational speech for our session. You can hire me, you book me for your parties and events. No, in all seriousness, I want to look at some of the questions that were listed in the chat here. And if you have any others, I've still got 10 or so minutes to address them. It looks like the first one was about what type of alumni activities are specific to design and fine arts, similar to the LA event would be nice into the Detroit area. I agree with you 100%. And this, well, coincidentally, I just spoke with the department chair of art design 2 days ago in my one-on-one with him, and told him that this department is one that I really want to focus on for the next academic year. So fall and spring, I want to focus on art and design events. And so we're going to start in Detroit. I've already started talking to him about trying to build an alumni event at the Detroit Art Institute, something that would hopefully align with one of our alums who's doing a show there next year. But expanding from there, eventually what I would like is alumni events that have a focus on all of the degree programs and alumni, and not just specific ones, but we did have to start somewhere. So yes, I agree with you 100%. We need to have those, and art and design is going to be a special focus for next year. It's kind of funny. I'm a musician, and I've been friends with art faculty and artists my entire life. And all the musicians are constantly around each other all the time. Everything we do is a group, right? There's band, there's chamber music, there's orchestra, there's choir. Everything we do, we see each other for 4 years. We're in large groups all the time. And she was explaining to me that it's different for artists because a lot of the work they do is by themselves, either in a room or in a studio or some similar place, that sometimes the solitude is what they're looking for. And so it is interesting building out an alumni connection with a lot of art and design alumni, because they've been so used to working by themselves that now I want to get them all together in a group. They're very receptive to it. It's just a very different approach, but we're going to get on that right away. I promise you. Andrea, go ahead. You can sign up for a new degree. There's plenty of degrees that you could add on. Maybe the arts administration degree when we get that online. That's looking good too. Let's see, well, adding AI technologies and everything is a must-have, yes, in today's and future market placement of graduates. I couldn't agree more. And the addition of these 2 new faculty is just the beginning. This isn't, hey, we did it and now we're done. This is having 2 people with experience in it who are going to help the rest of us build around that and incorporate it more into our coursework. In fact, I did just have a journalism professor propose to me a class last week that is entirely AI based. And it's going to be interesting. We're working with the IRB right now on what would be involved with informing students ahead of time that this is a class that's moderated by AI, but led by a professor. Because we don't want them to feel like they're getting ripped off, right? They're paying for tuition and AI is leading their chat sessions, but we're also very intrigued on the power of showing both the positives and the negatives of the utilization of AI, particularly in journalism. If you've been reading things, about 3 months ago, busted for publishing dozens upon dozens of articles that were actually written by AI, but they weren't saying it was written by AI. We want to tackle the ethics part of that, as well as using it as a tool for creation. And so this is all new territory. It's exciting, but at the same time, it's how can we do this so we can keep up with it as well? Because it's going to continue to develop very quickly. Graphic design is already starting to teach that in their courses. And of course, the hire that I mentioned is going to probably accelerate that tremendously in the next couple of years. Would be great to install TV monitors outside the TV studio, rolling a scissor reel. Yes, Phil, yeah, exactly. And I've also asked how we can get the feed that's running on those monitors in Bovie and in the residence halls. It used to be on local cable, the local cable station, but CMU dropped its subscription to the local TV networks or local cable company, and it's all streaming now, and we can't do it via streaming. So we're looking for that way to get what's going on with News Central and a bunch of the other, because there's a ton of new shows that our students have developed, talk shows, rock and roll shows, and I want them all over campus. I can't figure out why this is so difficult. But yes, we're definitely working on doing that, including one just right outside so it can be seen easily by people passing through the main thoroughfare. It's all about visibility for me. What do we have? Musicians have the same platform they build. Art majors have a different platform they built for my daughter as a leader at CMU Design Hub. Yes, collaboration with those groups may be a good idea. And I agree 100%. I was just talking to my associate dean last week. He's a his former graphic design faculty in the Department of Art and Design. And I said, why don't we have a more robust relationship with Digital Hub and Media Graphics, which is a student-run media hub in the Bova University Center. I said, I feel like that's almost treated like an and other rather than a part of. We really need to be incorporating this a lot more. And so he's going to lead that charge. And we haven't done it immediately because I forgot to mention that starting Friday, we have the National Forensics Association National Championship Tournament here on campus. We have 100 rooms we're managing across campus. The communication area is hosting this, but my associate dean has been running point on it. In fact, he's not here today because they made him go through golf cart driving training for an hour and a half, and it happened to be during this time so that he can shuttle things around campus. But we pretty much are reaching the entire campus with this event, and we're going to be also bringing in a lot of groups. We're going to be doing events at Mount Pleasant High School too. We're trying to create a stronger connection with them, specifically for speech and debate. But yes, to your point, those are definitely opportunities that we have not taken advantage of yet. And I just going to assume it was a sin of omission and not intentional, but we're definitely going to try to get involved to support what they're doing, but also to bring them into the fold a little bit and help us out. You're right. It's a great bonding experience. And the students that go through Digital Hub and Media Graphics, the art students do have a tighter bond because they're working together every day and they're accomplishing these things. It's a great idea. We're going to double down on that. I got 3 minutes. Anybody else want to say something or add a suggestion or throw a question out there? I hope what you're getting from these meetings is there is not only momentum, but we are doing a lot. We are looking at so many different ways that we can build programs up that are already great, try to revitalize some of our programs that maybe have shrunk in recent years for whatever reason. Honestly, I don't even care what the reasons are. I just want to get them going again, and then create new programs and get them going. It does look like finally I'm going to get approval for my arts administration faculty line, which means that we can start a search and then we can get that program running ASAP. The hope is that we can have a faculty member in place January 2025. They will spend the spring semester recruiting, building the coursework, and we will admit our first class fall of 25. That is our current timeline. I think it's realistic. I think it's going to happen. And it excites me. This is something near and dear to me. I believe that it is a way to make impact on arts organizations, on community education in the arts, and just in general provide opportunity for new leadership within arts organizations. It's very exciting to me. So again, there's like 20 balls in the air at any point in time. And believe me, none of this happens without the dedication of the faculty and the department chairs. They are tremendous in the amount of work that they are willing to do for these things. I don't have to beg anyone to do this work. I mention an idea and I've got 12 volunteers wanting to work on it. That is the most incredible environment to work in as a dean, to have incredible people who are willing, ready, and able to do it. I predict big things for us in the coming future. We're really poised to grow. I want to mention one last thing. The Accrediting Council of Journalism and Mass Communication had one of 2 votes in Chicago 3 weeks ago. I was there, and our journalism program passed the first round of reaccreditation voting. The second one happens in 2 weeks in Washington, D.C., but it's not just a matter of checking a box. The visit that they had 3 years ago was about as bad as it can possibly go. The report they got was really bad. And that unit worked so hard to address every one of the issues and concerns. I worked with them in developing new leadership and new programs in their program. And it was recognized not just with a thumbs up vote by that council. And this is a council, there are only 120 programs or 1,200 programs in the country that are accredited and only 2 in the state of Michigan. And we got some of the most effusive praise from this 18-person accrediting body that I possibly could have imagined. And not only that, but after the vote was over, the faculty member who was with me and I were bombarded by faculty and administrators from across the country telling us how impressive it was, what we accomplished in such a short amount of time to take action, to correct things, to grow things, to heal things. it was one of the best affirmations I've ever received from very accomplished people. I got as a little side note, the school that went before us was the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State. And that dean got peppered with questions. It was like 20 minutes worth of questions. And I was scared to death about what was about to happen when it was my turn to get up there. And instead of peppering me with questions, they asked one simple question, and then they literally applauded myself and the faculty member. This is a big deal. That means that we are now currently the only fully accredited school of journalism in the state of Michigan. It's fantastic. I'm very proud of the faculty for their work. Anyway, I said it was the last thing 3 times. That was really the last thing. I just wanted to make sure I got that out there.
Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Jefferson, for all of that exciting information. Stay tuned to your email for more campus conversations with the College of Arts and Media in the fall.
Thank you all.
Hey, everyone.
Support.
Thank you.
Hey, Brett.
Hi,
Hey, Dr.
Phil.
How you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
All good. I'll be in Toronto in June.
Excellent.
Maybe I
Well,
can get over to
Welcome to the Eastern Time Zone.
and get over to New York at some point.
Excellent. Would love to see you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody. Hi,
Thank
Joe. Wake
you.
up, Joe.
Yeah, come on, you guys. So Grisha, go to work.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.